denial. This time it is also in Jerusalem, and they were traveling back. That was Paul, and then in verse 20, he reported to James, the brother, half-brother of Jesus, and they said, "You see, brother, how many thousands of Jews have believed, and all of them are zealous for the law." Let's see. That's in the wrong Bible. Okay. All right. Zealous for the law. They have been informed that you teach all the Jews who live to turn away from Moses, telling them not to circumcise their children or live according to the customs. What shall we do? They will hear that we have come, so do what we tell you. There are 4 men with us who have made a vow. Okay, what vow is this? A vow to be a Nazarite. Okay, what's a Nazarite? A person who vows to the Lord that he will grow. Number 1, that he will not have any wine. Okay, that he will not cut his hair. He will let him grow. Okay, as a sign of his vow to God. Okay, now just to give you a background. All right, so this is a Nazarite. What he does is he makes a vow and says, "I will not drink wine. I will not eat anything that comes from the seeds of the grapes. And then I will not have my hair cut." However, okay, if he comes into contact with a dead person, even if it's his own family, okay, he has to do this. In verse 9, he has to shave his head on the day of his cleansing, the 7th day. Okay? So if that happens, he has to go bald. So, apparently there were 4 men who had this vow. And then somebody died, and so they have to shave their heads. And so Paul did what he felt would be right. Okay, not because it is the law, okay, but because for him, he was, he's in grace, but he wanted to let the people know, the Jews, that he was not teaching anything against the law of Moses. Okay, so here, he didn't look at verse 26. He took the 4 men, he purified himself along with them. He went to the temple, and the offering would be made for each of them. Guess what? Paul also identified with them, and he had, his hair shaved. That is an example of what he was saying, that I will practice self-denial in my life when necessary, if it causes weaker believers to stumble. Let us put it in a proper context today, right? For example, you are in a gathering, okay? And there are people and there is a serving of what? In Filipino, diniguan, okay? Blood. Okay? There are people who absolutely will not have anything to do with blood. Right? Some for health reasons, some because they want just to follow the Old Testament. But you are a more mature believer. You know what the Word of God says about all foods. When they are consecrated, they're clean. And it is not what goes in a person's mouth, but what comes out of his heart that defiles that person. Okay? So, you know that. Right? You see the person, the weaker believer, refuse to eat that. What do? Do Do you force that person? Okay? No, you have to eat this. It's okay. Right? No, you don't. Because you will cause them, okay, to stumble. So that was an example of how to practice self-denial. Now, second, and this is where we will take a little longer. A disciple of Christ needs to exercise self-control and discipline to win others to Christ. How dedicated are you? Are you as dedicated as athletes? Paul is saying you need to do that. If in the Olympic Games, all the contestants must say, before they compete, I have been training every day, okay, rigorously for the past 10 months. That is an absolute requirement before they can join. I need to be disciplined, training for the last 10 months, and that I will compete according to the rules, and I will not cheat. Exercise, self-control, discipline every day to win the prize, to win the race. You see, in the 1970s, when I was still in my teens, some of you were not probably born yet, but let me tell you about the Olympic Games in '76. Anybody familiar with the Romanian gymnast, Nadia? How many? Right? She was a sensational hit in 1976 because she was awarded the first ever perfect score of 10. Okay? She eventually earned 7 perfect 10s among the judges. While the media, the world was concentrating on her breaking these records, Japan will never forget a story of their tremendous courage of their countrymen. His dedication and self-discipline shown by their gymnast. His name is Shun Fujimoto. His heroic story is incredible in every respect. Now, the gymnastic team of Japan was in a battle against their long-dominant Russian team. And they had won the Olympic gold medal many times. So this man, Shun Fujimoto, he completed in the final tumbling on the floor exercises. Okay? Are you familiar with that? Floor exercises? Right? And he experienced an odd and painful sensation on his right knee. So his kneecap, his patella was fractured, an injury that under the ordinary circumstances, it would have immediately ended his participation in the meetings. So it is extremely painful injury which causes impaired function of the leg. But he is no uncommon competitor and not in ordinary circumstances. His team might need every point to upset the highly favored Soviet team. So he knew that when he broke his kneecap, that without his participation, they had no chance to win that event. With 2 events to go, he decided he would not tell anyone, not even his coach, not even his teammates, how badly he hurt, for fear that he would be removed from the event. So the next event was a pommel horse, which would be relatively light stress on the fractured knee. So by the final event, it was called the ring.
the rain events.